her last race when she won the Grade 1 Derby City Gaming Distaff by a nose, your first Grade 1 race, just sort of reflect on the stretch run, watching it, what you're thinking, and then what that race meant to you.
Well, coming around the turn, she started to move, and I thought, oh, we're going to win this pretty easy. And then we got to Serengeti, and she dug back in, and I thought we got about a head in front, and then I thought she had a better head bob than we did. Her head was down, our head was up, and I wasn't sure if we'd won or not, but before they put the photo up, I was just happy that Belle ran her race and showed up, and you know, I don't think she's ever gotten the respect she deserves. You know, she's only won half her races, Grade 1, Grade 2, 7 out of 14, and people still kind of overlook her. Even for the Breeders' Cup, they're kind of overlooking her now because Gamine and Serengeti are back in there.
Yeah, she's never been favored, and she won't be favored in this race. That's kind of amazing for her, as you said, a multiple graded stakes winner who's a 7 for 14 and always in the hunt.
Well, like I say, if Baffert or Fletcher or Chad Brown trained her, she'd be 3 to 5 every time. But since I train her, that, you know, people don't know my name as well and don't have the big horses that they normally have day in and day out. So they just kind of overlook her, even though she does nothing wrong.
Well, speaking of, I mean, you've been in this game your whole life. You've trained, I don't know how many years, but a whole bunch of, you know, you've certainly paid lots of dues. The satisfaction of having your first Grade 1 winner, because they're hard to come by, let alone win those races.
They're hard for me to even be able to run in and think I have a legitimate chance. You know, it's not something I really set out, you know, like every morning I got up and said, oh, I got to win a Grade 1. It's not really something I really think about. And winning the Grade 1 was nice, but I was more happy for Belle winning it than for me. And those kind of accomplishments, you know, maybe the Kentucky Derby would be a race that I would like to be in, where I thought I had a chance to win. And that one would mean more than, say, my first Grade 1. She's run at 2, 3, and 4. She's won stakes, short, long, turf, dirt, and won a race on poly. So, I mean, she's done everything you could possibly ask a horse to do. She's won on every surface, at every distance.
Did you think she, like, Grade 1 type horse when you first started training her?
I did. I mean, you never know. And it's like I told the owners, that she was a very nice filly. She's a little flaky at times. She's gotten better about that. But as she's gotten older, she's improved with her mind a little bit. But she's always had ability, and I told him, I know she's a graded stakes horse. Whether she's a Grade 1, I didn't know, but I knew she was a graded type stakes horse before we ever ran her the first time.
And she's had some tough beats herself.
Yeah,
and
usually we don't win the photos. I'm about 80-20 against on winning photos, but the last one made up for all of them.
Going into the filly and mare sprint, you mentioned Gamine, you mentioned Serengeti Empress. Speed, I mean, you got to think it could set up good for her.
I'm hoping it does, but like Gamine, Venetian Harbor, fillies you think you're going to have speed, haven't shown Serengeti speed. You know, Bellafina, if she decides to go with her, keep up with her, she showed here. But I don't know if she's going to do that or not. The other two fillies have never been faster than 45 in their lives. And we know that Serengeti can go 43 and change. So if they let her get an easy lead, if she goes 44 or 44 and 1 or 2, she's going to be hard to catch.
Well, and a couple horses did try her last time and paid the price for it.
Well, that's what I say.
Yeah.
Bellafina went with her early, and then Cece came on turning for home. And I don't know if they'll try and use those same tactics or not, or try and sit back off of her.
You know, when you have a horse that comes from off it, I mean, it is what it is. They
Right.
just...
She has to do a lot of the heavy lifting by spotting them 10 lengths. So Serengeti, you know, she is what she is. She's got to be on the front and show speed, and we've got to sit back and make our run. So hopefully we're good enough to catch her. Going in these type races, unless I do have a live shot. That's why I've never run a horse in the Derby. I've had a shot to run a couple, but I didn't think they could hit the board. So I don't want to come over just to say I've been there. And, you know, you always want to win the Breeders' Cup, you want to win the Derby, but or a Triple Crown race. But I really not set on self-recognition or setting goals for myself. I just like to have my horses in the best shape I can have them in and hope they run the best that they can.
What's the future for her beyond this race? They breed, right? So
They do breed, and that's up in the air. I mean, if she were to win, she could possibly go on the sale, although I doubt it. Bob's very hard to buy from. We've had some nice offers on her already since her last race. And if I had to guess, I would say that they'll probably race her again next year because she's a very sound filly, which today. So we'll just play it by ear, and whatever Mr. Lothenbach decides is what we'll do. My guess is that they'll race her next year, but that hasn't really been discussed at all.
you said she's a little, I don't know if you used the word quirky, but so like how did that manifest itself?
She just started it. The first time I ran her, I was planning on making a big bet on her because she'd been working really well. And it was at Arlington Park. And 2 weeks before, 4 different days, she'd be galloping down the stretch and just stop. And I mean stop. Couldn't get her off. I had to go lead her back to the barn. So that's why she always works with company, always gallops, starts out jogging with company in the mornings. The same horse that's her workmate trains with her too every day. So she just kind of developed it herself for no reason. Can't figure it out. She's kind of over it now, but I don't want to chance her not being over it. So that's why I always keep company with her when she works and give her a target to work at.
But I want to know about this bet. So did she run and you didn't bet because of that?
I dropped my bet down considerably. I bet about 10% of what I was going to.
And of course she wins.
She wins easy and paid $67. And she'd had works in 59, and why she was overlooked like that, I don't know, but she just kept going up in price. If I'd known she was, because I don't really pay that much attention to the tote board when I'm running one. I'll go bet early, and then I pay more attention to the horse than the tote board. If I'd have seen the tote board, I would have gone back and bet more. But I didn't know she was that kind of price until after she crossed the wire and they put the prices up.
You think she is absolutely good enough? It's just a matter if the trip works out.
It has to set up for her. I mean, I know that. She is good enough. There's no question in my mind she's good enough. But, like I say, if they let Serengeti go on 44 and 2 or 3, she's going to have a lot left in the tank and be hard to catch. And we have to not have a troubled trip. Because coming from out of it sometimes, I think it's going to be a pretty full field. Looks like 10 or 11 to me, just guessing. And we have to not have a lot of traffic or get stopped or, if we have a clean trip, she'll be right there at the end.